Hello, everyone. Welcome to Banda Kashavit International. Unfortunately, today Marco Messina couldn't join it. A last minute issue, but he will join either this upcoming week or the one after. So stay tuned for more. And I just wanted to also let you guys know that we launched our YouTube channel in English. So feel free to follow us there as well. The channel is called Banda Kashavit International. We're gonna post all of our English stuff there, and we're gonna leave you guys also links to listen to our podcast. All of these episodes will be recorded and shared as podcasts for you guys. I would like to welcome Andrea and Alex. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Alex.
Thanks, Rocco.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're going to cover quite a few interesting topics because it was quite an exciting week for Banda Kashavit. Yesterday we spoke with Filippo Galli, the one and only Filippo Galli. So Andrea is going to share some thoughts based on what we've discussed with him. We're going to share something also in regards to a call we had with Joe Mansueto, the owner of the Chicago Fire in Lugano. And we're going to, of course, cover the upcoming games of AC Milan. But with no further ado, I would like to give the stage to Andrea about the chat with Filippo Galli. Andrea, that was such an honor to speak with him. What would you like to share with us?
Yeah, it was, and was not just him, because we got with us even Giuseppe Pastore, which is an extremely appreciated journalist in the Italian scenario. He is part of Cronache di Spogliatoio, which is the most followed sport content creators in Italy. So it was an extremely honor to have him with us. And of course, Filippo Galli, it was a legend, 3 Champions League. He wants all that he can. And he was part of he was in the pitch when AC Milan won against Barcelona in Athens in 1994. So it was interesting because now I'm spending few times studying numbers, and I'm doing this study, and I will tell you later the authors because I have not the laptop with me. And it was very interesting to share with them opinion about that. Filippo Galli, after stopped to being a player, he was the head manager about the young. How do you say settore giovanile?
The youngsters.
The youngsters in AC Milan, and after that he continued to develop his career in that direction. And I asked him how data it can improve the job, his kind of job, and how data is going to change a lot football in these years. I start studying few things, and it started to be very, very interesting. On the other side, Giuseppe Pastore explain how data can be interesting in the storytelling of football. Once you talk about it and more information you give, more you go deep into arguments. So it is extremely interesting because it is not important just to have informations, but it is very, very, very important the way you're going to read it. So,
and Andrea, if I may add, I think one point that was very interesting in the call we had with them yesterday was how they said that data is something that you use to collect better information, kind of removing all the unnecessary information that otherwise you would need to analyze. But I would like to stress the importance that they gave to the qualitative analysis of that data, which is probably what you're going to talk about now, because he said the qualitative analysis can make a difference between failure and success, because otherwise somebody might think once everybody has data, all the teams will perform the same because they all have the same data, right?
Of course.
And are we talking about the book written by Chris Anderson and David Sally by any chance?
Of course, man. Thanks you for telling me, for remembering me that. Yes. Is that one? Did you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, of course. I'm reading it now, and it's extremely interesting. So, Alex, I know that you see the episode. What was the things that for you was more interesting from Filippo Galli and Giuseppe Pastore and Rock as well? I was just looking at them.
I mean, talking about evolution of data, one thing that made an impression on me from what Filippo Galli has said was that, you know, when Berlusconi bought AC Milan, he introduced, you know, the Milan Lab at Milanello, and you know, it was one of the first teams to use data, collect data, and so on and so forth. And he said, you know, yes, there is a component of the data that will help you. However, you have to use it in the right way, because there is a difference in between, you know, trying to improve how high you jump, or how fast you can dribble around the cones, but you have to put that in the perspective of the match itself. So how will that help you on the pitch? So it's not just a bare number that you want to improve as a single player. Is about how that will help the whole team.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I mean, to me, what is interesting is that data is a tool. Data is nothing more than a tool. It's something that anybody can get access to. I can get access to data. I just subscribe to a service and I get the data, right? Now, the people that read those numbers and the people that look at the player and interpret those numbers with a future looking, right? Like, how is this player going to develop? This is a skill that can never be replaced with data, right? So it is very important to understand that teams are still going to need to do a lot of work to be able to get good results from data. And that's like the key here, because otherwise, again, you might think that with data you solve your problems, but you know, data is there just to simplify your work. But you still need a lot of work after that.
Yeah, you cannot. Sorry, Andrea. Go ahead.
You go.
No. What I was trying to say is now that there in almost every field, of business, pharmaceuticals, whatever, there is data. And now we also have the component of artificial intelligence that will help with, you know, the gathering of the data, some bits of interpretation. However, we will always need the human eye, the skilled human eye, to determine what's important, what's not, and you know, what's the path to be taken.
Yeah. It is interesting, in my opinion, to help us, if that we are just supporters, fan of football, to understand it better. And once we go into tactical situations, we can understand much better how football is something in the middle between numbers and magical. When I say about magical, I mean that 50% of situation that comes from a football match, it depends by lucky. The other 50%, it depends by skills. So it's important to understand. And once you going to analyze a football match, mostly of the time, actually 50% of the time, there is something that is not depending by your skill that influence the final result. And this is very important. Consider that football is the one that if we want to talk about bookmakers, for example, once there's a favorite team, football is the one that got less numbers of teams that when they are favorite, they're going to win. And there's a big difference between them and other sports such like American football, basketball, and baseball. So it's very important to understand once you got small result, you need to analyze it and remember that 50% of the reason why a result comes is because of lucky or unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, it is true, right? Like the luck can determine the course of a match because we just see an example in the semifinals against Naples, right? After 30 seconds, Kvaratskhelia misses a huge scoring opportunity that could have changed the turn on events. But we can also look at games that could have gone in our favor. The famous final against Liverpool in Istanbul. Liverpool just had to miss one of those three goals, right? And it would have been a different story. So that's definitely like something that I think
And
needs to be considered.
and and it never happened that Liverpool in 124 years uh, take back the result after stay under 3-0.
Yeah, it
So
was
it was
the
the
first
only
time.
time in their history, in them history. So
That
you know
is crazy.
how incredible can crazy can things are in football. And I
Yeah,
think this is part of the fascinating of football.
yeah, like look at Sevilla against Manchester United. Out of the 5 goals Sevilla scored, 4 were a mistake of Manchester United. Like a big mistake, not small mistake. That's like the way soccer football is. But I think that some of that luck. Hopefully, we get back toward the end of the season because we are getting in a very, in a very tricky times for AC Milan with Rome, Inter, and all the other games. But what is interesting, though, Andrea, and I don't know if that's a good time for the transition here, is the call I had with Joe yesterday in regards to soccer as a overall. I cannot share most of the information we discussed because it was nice
Football.
enough. Football, yeah, sorry, football. I cannot share a lot of the information we discussed for obvious reasons, but he literally mentioned the importance of data moving on with football, right? Because we are getting toward um, interesting years. We have the Premier League that seems to have endless money at their disposal. And, if you look at the New York Times, The Guardian, they're already starting to talk about what could be considered a bubble, right? But regardless of whether there is a bubble or not in the Premier League, there is one big issue that surfaces there, which is if there is a bubble and if this bubble ever is gonna burst, the other countries cannot follow on this bubble, right? But there is also one more thing that is interesting when it comes to data, and that is something that I hadn't thought about that Joe brought up to me. He was like, Rocco, let's just think about Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Germany. In those countries, the supporters of the teams are the ones that vote the president because there is supporter association. That's how these teams are basically built. Just look at Real Madrid voting the president, Barcelona voting the president, and the German teams that are basically built that way. What's going to happen with these teams is that the only way to get voted as a president is to promise good players, the star players, to spend the money, right? So it's gonna be very interesting to see if the way soccer teams, football teams are set up in those countries is gonna be a limitation for them in the future. Because if you want to be elected president, you need to get the votes. If you want to get the votes, you probably need to promise signing star players, and that could create financial difficulties of these for these teams. Let's just look at Barcelona, how it ended up, right? So that scenario to me is going to be very interesting because we have the Premier League teams, which we do not know for how long that system is going to be sustainable. Now, after talking to Joe, I started realizing why in Germany there are no American investors because they don't like buying players just to get the votes to get elected presidents. That's like not sustainable. Then we have La Liga teams where teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid have presidents that are voted by supporters. So what countries does it leave us with? France, and Italy. And now I start understanding why Italy is being chosen by American investor, because it is the competition with the highest potential compared to France. And kind of solves the mystery, right? Because we were always asking ourselves, why Italy?
Yeah, that's interesting. Me reading things in these days, I understand why mostly of the situations now go in a kind of situations that looks like the economic, politically economy of Keynesian in England after the Second World War. They have not much because they need to go over the Big Depression, and they start to take many informations about the economical things of the country. And by that point, they need to understand that they need to rebuild the country with small to have a lot. And this is the point from where who comes to invest in Italy will start from. Because in Italy there are no structure, there are many political obstacles. The system need to have a direction, and the value of the TV rights is something like uh, 66 67% less than UK. Correct me, Alex, if I'm wrong. I think that the UK is
Three
uh,
times, yes.
three times what Italy got, something like 2.5 billion against 7.5, and this is something like a big gap that you need to work with. So in this direction, I think that the mission is interesting because we start from zero, but the good direction, I think that the good way to work, I think that will help.
Yeah, but I really want to stress, though, Andrea, the fact that, it kind of seems like Italy got quote unquote lucky to be chosen, and it takes advantage of the heritage that we carry. Because entering the UK market right now is extremely expensive, first of all, but the smart investor will be worried about the inflation of those prices of players, salaries, right? Like, there is something going on. And literally, like, Italy is the only country where an investor could make profit given the current structure of football. The fact that there is private ownership of teams, that's very, very important, because you can make the decisions. You are the one making the calls, right? And once you become the president of a team or the owner of a team in Italy, you do not need to promise anything to anybody in terms of supporters. The supporters, they can get upset at you, but you're still gonna be the president even if you don't buy nobody. So I think there were a set of conditions that made Italy appealing, including the fact that because of the hurdles, political hurdles that the country has, there is a lot of potential, unused potential, right? Because the Serie A is still the Serie A.
I think there is also another aspect that it's worth to be mentioned. Italy and France are both iconic countries when it comes to American tourism and how they're viewed in the world. However, if you think about France itself, you have Paris and Marseille. All the rest of France, yes, is picturesque. Yes, Americans want to go and visit, but they visit, the Champagne or the Loire, or there is no precise
Iconic.
city related to the La Liga. Whilst in Italy we have Milan, we have Rome, we have Naples, we have Florence. So you have a lot of iconic places where football is played, and is played at a Serie A level. So I think in that respect is an add-on. is an
But what,
advantage.
Alex, I was like, I got some answer which I cannot share, but I want to share a thought with you, right? Would it make sense for Italian teams to have an official partnership with an American MLS team? Because here is what I'm thinking, right? The MLS team can pump up AC Milan in the city they're in. AC Milan can pump up the American team. Then they can make a couple of frenzies every year, play against each other. But now you are getting a group of supporters and you're telling them, we have a partnership with this team. Go watch their matches. You do that with a couple of teams. Now you start growing your fan base in strategic key cities in the United States.
I mean, to be honest, we are not, if we do something like that, or if a team does something like that, they're not reinventing the wheel. Look at the network of football teams owned by Red Bull. They own Leipzig, they own New York Red Bulls, they own at least two clubs in Brazil, and they own Salzburg. So it's already being done.
I'm not interested in owning teams here because I don't care about player trading, right? What I care about is a pure entertainment partnership.
Yeah, of course. But I was trying to say is, it's already been done from that point of view. So yes, it can be done through partnerships, of course.
Because I mean, with the World Cup coming to this country in
the American Cup.
Excuse me.
Even the American Cup.
And sure, there is American Cup, the World Cup, and they're discussing the Champions League final the year leading to the World Cup, right? Now,
2026.
Yeah, you need to do that media work right now because that could be a huge opportunities. And interestingly enough, there are a lot of AC Milan supporters here in the United States. And what's interesting is that those supporters became supporters during the gold age of AC Milan. Go wonder when it was 90 to 94. 94, there was a World Cup in the United States, right? So yep. Clearly there is a connection between the growth of supporters and a World Cup in this country. It's like they are like, it goes in phases. All of a sudden, after that, all the Spanish team with the Latin population being here are very popular here. But the World Cup coming to this country, if you do a good media job, you can replicate what happened 20 years ago, if not more. Yeah,
30.
More 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I know in the meantime, football has a lot of resonance with the women's US team that has been at the top of women's football for years, and they've been winning World Cups, and so I would say it's gonna be an easier job now than in 1994.
Good morning, Igor, and good morning. Hopefully I pronounced it well. Animaniac 89. And guys, just as a reminder, Marco couldn't make it today. We're gonna postpone his episodes just in case you guys connected now. But with that said, guys, it kind of an interesting thing though that also came up in the chat we had yesterday, and that at least I think that's interesting. Maybe somebody else doesn't find it interesting. Is the fact that we are at the pivotal point in football. And by the way, guys, I need to make a campaign to call soccer is the real football because I cannot keep getting confused when I say the term over here. But regardless of that, we are at the pivotal point of football because we have Europe, which is the old continent, and America, which is the new continent. Europe is a very obsolete model that works, but it's very obsolete. Where is European football obsolete? It is obsolete in the fact that everybody is losing money. Everybody's like spending, not earning. And we have the American model where John said the MLS got to the level of the Mexican League right now. The next step is getting closer to European level. So they're actually aware of the plan. They're following a path, these guys, right? They're not just like, let's play football. So the model in the MLS is a model that is proven to work because America does a great job at entertainment and making money with sports. However, it's going to be interesting to see how the two models will eventually collide. Is it going to be in the future a mix of the two models, right? Where we take the best of Europe and the best of America, or is one model going to take over? Because to me, it seems like if we look at Redbird comes to Milan, apply in 1 year, they start making some tweaks, some work. With also Elliot did the same in the 2 previous years, and all of the sudden we have the European model with an adaptation from America, from an entertainment, media, and management standpoint. We are almost profitable. So what's going to be the future is going to be a very interesting thing that we will need to analyze and look at.
In my opinion, it can be a win-win situation because I think that both of them can have advantage. Americans can have a big learning from what all the history of football was written in Champions League and different leagues, and there is the culture of football. At the same time, European teams and countries can learn the way to work that United States leads all over the world. And I think that in this way, it can be a very, very interesting hybrid and in the next days. And I'm very curious to see the way that will be done.
No, what do you think, Alex? Like, I think that something that to me is interesting is that you live already kind of a mixed model, because the United Kingdom is kind of, from a financial and managerial standpoint, one step above the rest of Europe. Maybe Germany is very similar to the way you guys operate. How do you see that also clashing with the model that you have in the UK?
I mean, I think the biggest obstacle in that is finding synergies in between the different federations, because so far you had every single country-based federation was trying to be better than the other. So Germany was trying to be better than Italy, UK was trying to be better than the rest, and so on. So they were trying to make the local team life easier, by giving them, I don't know, a different better taxes, laws or legislation, or trying to bring better talent in the country than in others. So I think the only way to overcome that is through having owners or ownerships of teams that think alike. So once you have that across multiple countries, then yes, you can do it. Otherwise, that's going to be, in my opinion, that's the biggest obstacle.
And Alex, with that in mind, right?
So as a quick example, you want to put a salary cap, which is fine, but if the taxes in the countries are different, then it's worthless.
No, I agree. I mean, in talking about salary cap, right? We are getting into a very important cup in a couple of weeks, which is not the salary cap, it's the Champions League. But before getting to the Champions League, we need to worry about qualifying to the next Champions League, which brings us to tomorrow, where we play against Rome, which is going to be a very, very complicated match. And in terms of playing against Rome, like, to be honest with you, I would like to see the same AC Milan that tied 2-2 against Rome, just removing the last 10 minutes. and replacing those last 10 minutes with a normal game. Uh, I don't know, Alex. Why don't we start with you? Like, what are your feelings about tomorrow's game? Like, what are you expecting to see in the pitch? We are gonna play with the same 11 that played against Napoli, and Pioli mentioned that actually Ibrahimovic is feeling better, so fingers crossed for him. Pobega will start training next week, so he's not gonna be part of the game, and Florenzi has a fever. Other than that, everybody's gonna be available.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's going to be available, and it looks that he will start with the same team that started against Naples for the last three games. But I think there is a very interesting thing that Pioli has said, in the press conference today, because there were questions around the positioning of Krunic, the positioning of Benacer, Tonali, and so on. And what he said is that there are three complete midfielders that can play different roles within the same game, and this is what he's gonna play with. So yes, you might see it as the same team starting, but it doesn't mean that we will play in the same way.
To me, honestly, Alex, tomorrow, I have this mindset, right? We are going to play against Roma, Cremonese, and a couple of more matches. We are going to talk later about the other matches, but what I'm expecting is a team that is focused. I want to win no matter the result, right? But I want a team that is focused, because Inter is doing a perfect job at approaching the semi-final, right? They're winning against good teams. We need to start to show that consistency, because I think a team that gets good results in important matches is more likely to perform well for the rest of the season. Like, I want to see that focus, that determination, and finally get to the point where I know that I can trust that team. But in approaching Rome, I think we are gonna see a different AC Milan that we are used to, because this Milan has grown in personality, awareness, and we are not conceding. My main worry is our ability to score, because honestly, and I don't know, Andrea, if you want to jump in on that, right now it seems like Leao turns on, AC Milan scores, Leao turns off, AC Milan doesn't even shoot. That's my only worry for tomorrow's game. Our ability to have more solutions up there. What's your thought, Andrea?
I think that in the next years we are going to see football that is going to consistently change, and what we get used to think is to believe that if you play better, you got the right to win. But this is not true, because once you put two teams that play a match, they got weakness and skills that live together and play against each other. Roma got skills that doesn't show them play well. If you see play Roma, is very boring. They're not working much with building up. They are not spectacular in anything they do, but they have very high numbers in how do you say, palloni da calcio piazzato.
They are very good from corner kicks and like overall inactive balls. Yeah.
Fixed plays.
Yes. And this is something that you need to pay attention, especially when you play against a coach like Mourinho that got a lot of experience. So he knows exactly the way to get the result home and dead ball situations. Yeah, Igor, help me. Thanks, Igor. Sorry.
But Andrea, like in that regard, right? Roma tomorrow is going to miss Smalling, which is for them. Igor actually says dead ball situations. So that's
Yes.
Thank you, Igor. Roma is missing Smalling tomorrow. just as a summary, they're gonna play in defense with Ibanez, Kubulla, and Mancini, and Smalling is a very key player for them for dot dead balls, right? Yes,
Yeah,
they're
but
gonna
it's not the only one.
no,
It's
of
not the
course
only
they're
one.
gonna teach Dev Cristante, but Smalling.
Mancini, even small, even Kumbulla, and even Ibanez.
But
So
Milan has done a great job on dead balls in the last like 10, 15 games.
yeah, but uh, remember one thing: 50% of what happened on the pitch is done by casual things. Casual is correct. Casuale,
Casual thing, yeah, casual.
casual things,
Random.
random
Okay, so
things.
you're telling me, Andrea, tomorrow there is 50% chance CDK will score.
Sorry.
Tomorrow you're telling me there is a 50% chance that the Catalar will score. Because if 50% is
That
random,
is too much. That is too
too
much.
much.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is go over random. Something like how you say azzardo.
That's like a gamble.
Yes, that's going to the gambles direction. No, I mean, episodes. That's me. I see. I starting to see AC Milan. That was 1981, and I get used to be very careful. Even if I agree with you that the physical and mental condition of AC Milan now is great. We arrive in a good condition. We arrive on a wave, but I get used to respect all situation that AC Milan need to face off. So it's very important to go there with very careful. It's very important. The next Champions League will pass from Rome. After that, there will be other six important matches, and it will be not easy, but we can do it. But we need to be very, very careful because at the end of the story, I don't want to stay here and say we play much better. Same we did when we played in January against Rome and ends the match with 2-2 because that happened one after we play an excellent match. So I think that yes, we got the skills, we got the players, we need to be careful.
But Andrea, Alex, actually, AC Milan is known for kind of reviving other teams' players, right? So, what are the chances of Belotti actually scoring the first goal tomorrow, right? Because they're gonna play with Belotti, and Sharawi, and Pellegrini. I don't know what happened to Abram. Like, is he injured or something? Why is he not playing?
No, actually, no. Is maybe it's not a good feeling, not good condition. Is not perfect, but he's not injured. Now about the new. Let me see if there are any
I think
news.
he was injured, to be honest.
No, 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 no. Otherwise, there are news, but no. Let me
No,
see.
it just says Belotti. They're preferring Belotti so far. But yeah, like, I mean, let's be honest, right? We are the ones that can mess up this match because Roma doesn't play a good soccer, as a good football. And if we are not able to contain Sharawi, Pellegrini, and Belotti, are we worth or even playing a semifinal, right? Like, I'm always very objective when it comes to that. Like, you need to be able to handle this team. So we need to play well. We need to bring home the 3 points against a team that, why
We
not?
need to no, yeah, because to play well is not something that guarantee
Oh
you
no, play well. I mean,
three
like, we are
points.
not gonna do with Sassuolo 5-2. Like, that's what I mean with
Of
playing well,
course,
right?
yes, yes, of course.
For
But
example, for me against Naples in the semi-final, the second game, we played well because we played the game to bring home the result.
yes, yes, yes. In this way, I agree 100%. No, because in Italy we heard a lot that AC Milan went to play in the Naples Stadium in the second quarter final, and many of supporters said that AC Milan play like with Catenaccio, staying back, try to just to go, and this is absolutely what didn't happen in the pitch. AC
No,
Milan
no,
play
no.
an excellent game.
you always have to play to your strengths, and and against your opponent's weaknesses. So that's what you
Some
have to do
strength, and
every
strength,
single game. You have to
even strength of the opponents.
exploit their weaknesses and express your strengths. But that doesn't mean that you are attacking from first to 95th minute. It means that if you have to wait, you wait. If you want to have a counter attack, you go for it, because we have the right players for that. Every game is a history on itself. So
No, I see. I agree with you guys, to be honest. And I mean, overall, like when it comes to the game tomorrow, I feel that's like a pivotal moment of the season. Tomorrow will determine our likelihood of getting top four, because it's gonna be a mental thing, right? Like from a mental standpoint, it's gonna change completely the perspective that players will have over the top four race. And I just wanted to bring up this comment from Igor.
Abraham had a shoulder problem during the match against Feyenoord. It's probably still that. It's still probably bugging him.
Igor
Yeah,
mentioned,
Igor, yes, he's not perfect, but he can play.
yeah, Igor is saying, given our bad period starts with the January game, I'm confident our players will be more than ready for the game. Our problem come against teams like Cremonese.
Okay, let me write something that I'm going to put a banner that, no, not this one, sorry, that will show you which one can be a bigger one of the big problem tomorrow. Because
Do you have
everyone
do we have
underestimate,
fans music?
underestimate,
Well, Orsato is a very dangerous player tomorrow. He wears this yellow shirt, and so and Roma, I believe, is a team that I saw a meme the other day on Twitter. I was laughing by myself in bed last night that there was Roma kicking a penalty, and they said this is how the game is gonna start instead of the middle field with a penalty for Rome, right?
yeah, is with Orsato is high representative director in Italy, but with this strong personality, sometimes he made it too much personality, and then you never know what can comes from, so he's very unsure to understand uh, how which way the episode will be managed. So you know I agree with all of you. I don't like to be not confident. I'm always very confident, and I agree what about Igor say here. It's true. Mostly of the problems that we got, we had with teams like Cremonese. It's true, but once you play matches like this, remember the episode that went against us, even with Naples. So when we play in November, we take, we was very unlucky game. So we need very careful. I never win matches before to play, and even if we are in better condition, I think it's very important to don't underestimate the match, because if we go under and they put all of the players in front of the defending line, then it will become hard. So I hope that they go there very, very, very careful. Adelante con judicio.
Wow, he's also pulling Spanish here. He's very international, Andrea, today. But Andrea, I think adelante con juicio also means that we need to look at what other teams are doing and what other games are expecting us in the
That's
upcoming
true.
weeks, right? I mean, looking at the lineup of matches, it looks like Inter has a very tough calendar for the last eight to nine games. I think there are 9 games left, right?
7, I guess,
Yes,
over this one.
21 points. You're right. Inter has the toughest job, seems like. There
But
is now,
so does Roma, Rocco. So
yeah,
does Roma.
Roma as well, and it seems like the stars are aligning to a point where we are the ones that can mess up, right? Juventus likely, no matter how they're gonna rank, they're gonna have some sort of issues with um, joining the next Champions League. But let's have a look. Like, let's look at this in today's at the next round, the next set of fixtures. There is Roma Milan, there is Juventus Bologna, and Inter Lazio. That's a huge game, right? Inter Lazio. Inter, if they lose, they are gonna be 1 foot out of the Champions League race, right? What's your feeling about actually that fixture right there?
Sorry.
Sorry, Andrea got excited there.
Okay.
What's your guys' feelings about Inter Lazio, for example?
I have to say another thing. Then I make Alex answer first, and then after that, I'm going to show you some statistics about Lazio. Go ahead, Alex.
I mean, yes, obviously, having those two games in the same, not the same day, but you know, the same season game is going to be important. I think all we need to do is focus on ourselves. If we win tomorrow, that's the important bit. They can either one of them can win or lose. It means one of them will lose points, and this is what I'm saying. The most important bit for us is to win. Then we look at what's going on. I would say towards the 36th day of the season. Not
Alex, don't you think there is a game in the game here? Because yes, it's true, we need to look at ourselves, right? But in 3 weeks, I think, not even 3 weeks, in 2 weeks, we are gonna play the semi-final against Inter. So every game right now is gonna have a psychological and mental impact on the team. They might get nervous, they might get upset, they might get sad, they might get happy, excited. Now, this is the way you get to that game is gonna also be influenced by the results of the games until that day. Don't you think so?
Look at that, Rocco. Look at that. Look at that. These are goals of Lazio that scroll.
Is there a way you can zoom a little bit?
All right. Let me see if it is centered.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. These are the goals of Lazio, which are 49. But look about the expected goal, which are 42. Okay. And look at the goal against, 21. And look at the expected goal against,
35. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is explaining that actually now is absolutely overperforming Lazio. So he's doing more than what they're really doing. You understand what I mean? So it's not. We cannot consider Lazio a team that should stay here. If you look at the expected points of Lazio, are 46. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So they got 15 points more of what are expected. You understand what I mean? So they are absolutely in a position that they should not. Same as well Juventus. We are pretty similar with our position. Rome should have more than what they have. We have a little bit more, but 56, 54, they're pretty similar. Rome should have 59 and they got 56. Inter should have 62 and they got 54. Because if you go to see numbers of Inter are much better than what they really are. If you see, for example, the goal of Inter are 51, but they should have done with expected goals 57. So this is another thing that explains that how random things influence results. So
Yeah,
we
but
need to be very careful.
there is one thing that is not counted in that graph, Andrea. That
What?
we played 3 months with Tata Rusano.
Yes, 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 yes. So,
No offense, Alex. I know he's a compatriot, but with Magnani it would have been a different story, right?
no, no, no. But me and now I'm just trying to look everything happened to other teams now. Even Naples, that everyone are talking about an excellent season of Naples, and I agree with that. They score 67 goals, but the expected goals actually was 60, and they got 24 expected goal against, but actually they had just 21. So you see that all the time you're going to see the points. You need to read it in the correct way. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course. But, and I mean, like, that though brings up a point, right? Like, Inter, like, if you look at the case, let's assume AC Milan brings home the 3 points tomorrow, right? And Inter ties up. There is a very high chance that Inter Lazio could tie, right? Like, Lazio is having a lucky season this year. Inter is gonna get a huge pressure for the next few games. That must have an impact on the semifinals somehow.
Yeah, yeah, of course. No, of course. Everyone are inside the war now. Everyone are fighting to arrive in the best four. We have to absolutely consider that Juventus will be not part. Actually, most likely they will arrange a deal to play in the second division next year. This is just unofficial things that come out from the mainstream at this time, at these days. We cannot guarantee on that, but this is the rumors that are going on more than others. So I'm not going to consider Juventus.
No, of course. I think the race is gonna be the six. Everybody there is going to Europe, right? It's gonna be about who goes to the Champions League and who goes to the Europa League. And
Yes.
there is a big question mark in regards to Rome that could potentially get to the Champions League with the final in the Europa. How do they call it this? The Europa League, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think that at the end of the story, Lazio will risk to be out of the best fours.
I think Lazio might hold, but not second. Like, honestly, I don't think Lazio will stay in the second place. Me personally, I think it's gonna be Napoli, Milan, Juventus, and Lazio. That's what I think is gonna be the fourth lineup.
I think that Inter will get in, and Juventus will get out. In my opinion, if I don't want to talk about AC Milan, but I think that Rome, Inter, and Milan most likely will get in. Lazio, I think, they need to be very lucky to keep them into the first four position. But
Alex,
this is
what's
my
your
opinion.
thought?
I can't read the future. So
And by the way, before Alex talks, I just want, for those of you that didn't understand, this is not the wall behind Alex. That's a Mike Maignan background.
yes.
No, I should have had an eagle instead of the wall.
You can answer even what about Igor say, because we have to remember that Lazio is going to play against Inter this week and against AC Milan next week. So things can change. Then if Lazio will win, of course, they got advantage and they will keep themselves inside.
Yeah, I think the only advantage that Lazio has is that they're out of everything else, so they can concentrate just on the Serie A, minimize effort. But they also have a very short team in terms of available players. So, don't know.
Yeah, they also gave us 4 goals last time we met them.
Yeah, but
I mean, we would have given AC Milan 4 goals, just the three of us. You know what I mean?
yeah. But the things that I don't like about play the teams like Lazio, that is that, and then what happened? They will go to Champions League next year, and then they will go to make play the second team in Champions League because they need to show the best player in Serie A, and at the end of the first round they will go out. So the bad experience that we had with teams like Lazio and Udinese once they reach important situations in Europe is that they don't care much. They just care to get the money. They have not history. They don't have the feeling to go in Champions League and play it. You understand what I mean? So it's a big shame. Sorry about that.
And Andrea, like I know that we are about to go into all. We have like 4 minutes before closing the episode, but I think there is one more thing that I know is dear to you here, and I wanted to touch upon that, although it's a delicate topic. But today, there are rumors circulating about ranks. Napoli is trying to steal ranks from us. Have you already called Mardini or Cardinali to stop that from happening? What's your feeling about it? Like, I mean, my feeling is that everybody criticizes these guys for buying these players, but every time everybody wants to buy these players, right, from us. So they must be doing something right with that data we talked about, right? And for those of you that don't know that,
No
Andrea was
comment.
about, yeah, Andrea was about to get a tattoo of ranks on his chest this year because he really likes the guy.
No, I have nothing to say about it because I think that, of course, they can be interesting. We got the option to buy him, so if our management will decide to buy him, we got the option. So there's nothing to say about that.
Andrea, you got
Uh,
the new best friend.
yeah. Hi, Matteo. I'm together with you in this. Uh, let's see. Unfortunately, I'm not in the mind of Maldini. I'm not in the mind of Massara and of Pioli as well. So it's very difficult for me to say. If you ask me, I think that there's a lot to work with this guy. So can be very interesting to see him grow up in AC Milan. But we can just wait and watch what's going to happen.
Alex, do you have any last words?
No, I agree with Andrea. My hope is as well that we'll keep Ranch. I think he's a very good prospect, and perhaps next year he will have more chances to be on the pitch that he had this year. I think he has very interesting skills, very interesting characteristics that you might need, in against teams uh, like like Cremonese themselves. So
And guys, here they suggest keep ranks and loan Adli. Actually, I agree with that. If you're not gonna pay Adli, let's loan him out. And Igor was like to say ranks is going to be an animal for us next year. I agree. And I would like to say one more thing, guys. So please follow, subscribe to our English channel for Banda Kashavit International on YouTube. We just opened the English only channels. We're gonna put podcasts very soon on there, so we're gonna do a lot of good content for the English channel. And a lot of you have asked us to have these episodes as a podcast. So on Spotify, you will find this episode, last week episode, and all the future episodes in an audio version only, in case you guys, for whatever reason, wants to listen to our voices in the morning or when you're driving to work. And of course, on Twitter, on Banda Kashavit International, if you guys want to follow us, we put a lot of content there as well. And a lot of surprises are coming, guys. We're working on a lot of partnerships that are going to bring even better content. And for those of you that are listeners and would like to join us for an episode, we do not only have guests that are quote unquote famous people. We like to have supporters in our episodes because we would like to hear your voice and your opinions. So just reach out and we would organize it. In the meantime, like, I don't know, Andrea, if you want to add anything else to that, but
Yes, that's one thing about podcasts. I mean, I'm very big podcast listener. I get used to listen even to many American podcasts. I learn many things from them, and because Banda Casciavite International start from the Italian version, from where we start to get used to develop opinions about what's happening around AC Milan's world. And in this way, we would like to create a kind of recap, maybe a daily one. If you have any kind of ideas, you can put on the content down below the episode, and maybe we can start to do something like that. Can be experimental for the first step, to get ready in the next season to create the format that can be suitable even for the one that would like to be part of our community.
thank you so much, Andrea. And Alex, as for every new subscriber, will share his wall background just for the subscribers. He will send it to you. It's like, and you guys could be proud of owning Alex Wall's background. With that said, Alex, thank you so much for joining. Andrea, thank you so much for joining.
Hi
Thank you.
everyone, Forza Milan.
Since I'm
Forza
thanking
Milan.
nobody thanks me for joining. So thank you so much to
Thanks
myself.
for joining.
Thank you, Rocco, for being such a glamorous host.
Oh yeah, of course. Like I'm gonna, every time I compliment you guys, I get $50.
No. Let's think, Rocco. I think that the one that would like to follow and join even the episodes that we are doing in the Italian version, there's the option of subtitles, and there are many kind of we do something like 4 or 5 episodes per week. So if they want to know much better what we are doing there, and so they can understand exactly from where we come from.
Thank you, Andrea. Then, and Forza Milan.
Ciao ragazzi, Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.
Ciao.